Pretty cool matchup we have here for you guys. It is a Snake Eye Fire King, a little bit of a variant of last format, losing some of the power of those Fiend Smiths, not really having the ability to bridge you into your engine as well. So Fire Kings is the replacement this time around. And Sophiane, however, is bringing something very underrepresented, 3% only as the representation for today. Branded.
In his heart, it has always been 100% though. Sophiane playing this deck now for, I want to say, at least a year. We've seen him play this at the last year's European Championship, where he also was in the points playoff.
Yeah.
And he was that unfortunate person, first making top 4, but then losing 2 matches in a row to not make it to the World Championship. But of course, he can still be a YCS champion today if he keeps on winning.
And Dario, you talked about the impact of the Forbidden and Limited list on the Snake Eyes Fire Kings deck. However, look at all the one-offs in here. We had normal summon Snake Eye Ash after the bonfire, searching for Snake Eyes Poplar. And I think if you're at that point, if the consistency hits didn't limit you at all, you're good to go.
Yeah, and honestly, I saw a lot of people also still sticking to the Fiendsmith cards in Snake Eye Fire King, but we see that Dario has completely disregarded the Fiendsmith cards. There's none of them. The complete deck only consists of those Fire King and Snake Eye cards, and then a lot of non-engine, and arguably he found a lot of good non-engine also for the branded matchup that he may have not expected, but he became here in the last round of Swiss, because, for example, Bystials are pretty good against that.
Yeah, Bystial's really strong, and Effect Veiler is also really good against Branded now because they lose their 2 copies of Branded Fusion from the last Forbidden Limited list, so you do kind of rely on trying to search out your Branded Fusion. So Effect Negation, a lot more prominent now. And as you mentioned, the Bystials have a lot of crossover versus Ubel, and naturally that's going to work out really nicely versus Branded, hitting the Fallen of Albaz as the critical point of fusion summoning with things like your Albion.
And in this combo, you could kind of also see a big difference between the Snake Eye Fiendsmith decks and the Snake Eyes Fire King decks, because we saw very, very early that the Flamberge Dragon actually used its effect to put the Snake Eyes Oak from the graveyard into the Spell and Trap Zone and send it away with the original Sinful Spoils, followed up by the Ponix from the deck. However, now we don't really have the option anymore to summon out an IP from the Spell and Trap Zone because it just simply won't be there.
That is true.
I think we're going to be relying a little bit more on the Fire King style of cards to protect us, like your Arvata, most likely going to be a part of the combo here as it is resolving to destroy, chaining the Ponix to summon. And yeah, this is a little bit of a variant from Macedul, actually, and soon to be the release of Volcanix and Rage of the Abyss, but that'll be in just a couple of weeks. It might change up the deck quite significantly, but still opting to go for the Fire King version on Dario's side.
Yeah, I like it. It's a very, very nice deck. It gives you a lot of interaction on the opponent's turn. Sometimes the field that kind of a Fire King deck presents you doesn't look very impressive, because it's not uncommon that you only see 1 or 2 monsters. Sometimes it's just an Ambler Whale, for example, which on its own is not very impressive, but then you have a Kirin in hand, which is able to also trigger the Garunix, and then of course also there's a Princess in the graveyard usually, so it does in the end add up to quite a bit that you offer to counter your opponent there.
I'm gonna be honest, I think Ambler Whale is mighty impressive. That's a massive card right there.
Fair.
But I think this combo line is also kind of interesting that Dario is going for a Sunlight Wolf as well, adding back some resources. I like the little Chimera in there as well. This has always been a big part of the combo. One of the cards that were necessary to get out in Appaloosa really, really early when Poplar was first released, but that won't be a problem anymore for Sophiane because Appaloosa is not part of our format anymore.
Yeah, that's true. And also you usually went for Dual Chimera because that would be the Link 2 monster you wanted to get back with the Ambler Whale, which we see here. So you want to make sure that there is a cool Link 2 monster to bring back. I mean, on the other hand, that IP Masquerade, you said it's not going to be in the Spell and Trap Zone, but of course it could be brought back theoretically with the Ambler Whale eventually.
And yeah, just look at how like unassuming this field is, right? It's literally just like an Arvata and a set card,
Absolutely.
Right? But this is going to snowball into so much disruption without realizing it. The Arvata is going to negate and destroy, triggering the Garunix, and then the IP is brought out from the Ambler Whale off of the Princess, triggering by destroying the Ambler Whale. Just a lot of really unassuming disruption from the Fire King side.
But we are playing against a fusion deck, and one card that could completely ruin this would be Super Polymerization. I'm not even sure whether Sophiane is running it, looking through his list. I'm afraid I can't even find it, but that would be such a good way to out.
That is because it's a branded deck and they play 10,000 one-offs, and it's very hard to find the super polymerization in that list.
Super polymerization for a loving
perfect
defense.
banish right away for the Allure of Darkness, though. That is the card you want to banish next to the Mercurier. You will be able to generate value out of that banished Despian Tragedy there.
Oh yeah, this is just modern D-draw right there. Allure plus a branded name, a Tragedy or the Mercurier. Really, really nice.
We are using the effect of Avata on that.
That's quite early, but yeah, just denying the search here. Probably anticipating that, hey, listen, Branded Fusion's at 1. If you just stop any way to get to the Branded Fusion by searching out the monster for the Tragedy, I guess is really the plan here.
I mean, I felt like we could have maybe just waited for the Aluber and then negate that, because that would also take out the normal summon, but Dario has other plans. He wants to get things going pretty early here, and he is going to negate that.
I think he's pretty
Tragedy.
safe, because you can see his hand is loaded with hand traps.
Oh, is it? Okay.
We have Ash for the Branded Fusion.
Oh, no.
I believe there was an Nibiru Veiler as well.
Wow. Yeah, that could be. He's running all of those cards
I
for
saw
sure.
Nibiru as well.
Yep. And here is the Amblebow bringing out the Masquerena from the destruction effect of Arvata to negate that Tragedy.
Question is, do we also trigger Kirin here? Garunix to get a Kirin? I don't think so, right?
I think you can wait with the Princess, right? And then use that in tandem.
Oh, another Allure, though. We keep on digging. Do we also have the Mercuria to banish? Because that would be the next perfect card to get there. Because Branded still, I think just engine-wise, you can play through so many things, and this is still not incredibly impressive at what we see here.
This is why people really like Branded, you know? It's a deck that doesn't usually play much hand traps, right? You are kind of like brute forcing through all of your powerful fusion
checking
plays.
With the good old Tragedy. Can he activate it again? Or is it?
This is
use once per turn.
This is a new card. Ooh, there's the Aluber.
All right. Yeah, look, that's another problem. When they just draw the Aluber, now you can't negate that anymore.
Are we veiling
we're
the
fine. This is an impermanence.
Oh, impermanence is there. Okay, but that now scares VIP Masquerena, kinda.
It does indeed threaten. We can go battle phase, but destroying cards against Fire King is, you know, very scary.
Very valid.
To be honest, it's not a fire card, and if you're threatening the attack and IP Masquerena goes into a SP, then we don't have a fire monster on the field at all anymore. So basically, I think you're kind of free to force the IP Masquerena.
I think you're fine with that, though, if you're on the side of Dario, right? You know, you know you're going to survive this turn. All you've taken is 1,000 off of...
There is triple tactic thrust, though. When you're drawing cards like that with Allure of Darkness, you're going to eventually find those cards, and Dario... Is he going to respond to that, or is he going to wait for the card that comes out? Okay.
It's really interesting, right? Because Thrust is like the instant Ash card, but there is an argument to just wait for the target of Ash, which in this case could probably be a Branded Fusion, and then from there, it's going to be really hard to come back from anything disrupting Branded Fusion. That's the
it is the Branded Fusion. Ultimate Rare searching Ultimate Rare. What a beautiful picture. Also, of course, the Aluber initially also being the Ultimate Rare. I mean, when you're playing Branded for over the year, I think you get those cards, right? So somewhere at your locals, just give that. Okay, you played this for so long, here's the Ultimate Rare version.
Yeah, I think like Branded players seem to be like a special part of the community, right? Like they if you're a Branded player, you're like a branded player, right? Like it's a community, you know what I'm saying? So
for sure.
They love to like get all the flashy cards and stuff for their deck.
Yeah.
So
I think they're also having like special parties just for them, pretty much.
Yeah, we haven't heard of them yet, but there is
because we are no Branded players.
No one's heard of them. Yeah.
I accidentally played this in Master Duel once, and it's once every 3 months.
How do you accidentally build and play a deck?
It just happens sometimes.
We gotta know more about that process.
Okay, we did attack over the IP Masquerena. That now triggers the other effect of the Ambler Whale, though. But that would only destroy the Allure, which seems fine and fair.
Yeah, I agree. This is
we still want to do it, though.
Yeah. Because it's also a valuable resource in the graveyard. When one of your fusion monsters get destroyed, you can summon it back and negate a card permanently. Oh, we're destroying our Arvata, and I like that a lot, because now we can get the Doodle Chimera back. And when we destroy that one, or we just trigger Garunix?
No, the Avata can only bring back a Fire King monster.
No, the Avata summoned the Doodle Chimera back in the combo in the first place.
Okay.
There it is.
Absolutely, there it is. You're right.
Is Arvata once per copy or a turn?
Once per turn.
Arvata is kind of old. Might not be anything.
but the last sentence gives it away.
Yeah.
Oh, now there is our chance to destroy through the effect of Kirin, though. So eventually we got rid of the Aluber.
Yeah, there goes the Aluber, triggered off of the Kirin, non-targeting destruction.
Branded Fusion, no time wasted. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring.
There's the Blossom.
For a second, when I saw the thrust, I thought that he was going to add Fright for Patchwork because he was afraid of Ash Blossom and was kind of signalizing, I have Brand of Fusion in hand already, I'm going to add the Patchwork so it doesn't get Ash. But did not happen. Ash Blossom possibly ending the turn of Sophiane already.
You know what he should have searched? He should have searched Grass.
If he would only run it. Sophiane played 60 cards before, he's still playing it, but he just doesn't include the card.
It's very popular in Macedo, right?
is.
It's like the standard to run 60 card branded with the 1 fusion.
Absolutely. Okay, now in the end phase, of course,
Really strong.
through the effect of Avatar, in the end phase, we destroy the monster we summoned, and that gives us back the Ash Blossom, because Doodle Chimera on Destruction adds back that fire monster from the graveyard.
Imagine playing Branded and just playing against the deck that recycles Ash Blossom. That's just a nightmare, isn't it? God, we are just locked and loaded here. Look at that. Ash, Veiler, Nibiru. Oh, man.
Veiler.
Double Veiler? Wow.
And we, of course, have the Snake
the
Eyes
Oak.
Oak. The valuable follow-up that was added the turn before. Special summoning out the Poplar. Of course, you're going to summon out the Poplar and not Ash because there are no more
And
Snake
here comes
Eyes
the
little
interesting
monsters
part,
in the
because I
deck.
think he has decided to include the Subversion into his deck, which is not very popular. Honestly, it has been a very long time since I saw this in a main deck of a YCS or at the European Championship. It was also pretty much non-present overall, but he did not decide to include the Fiendsmith cards, and therefore there is just spaces opening up.
It is a very shiny card.
Yeah,
so it
fair
fits the
point.
theme.
Yeah, I think with the Forbidden Limitless, Snake Eye lost a lot of its ceiling, its power, its resilience. But one thing that I think it still has going for it for sure is its resources. I mean, just being able to have this Oak Flamberge every single turn, just getting you more and more, it's really, really good.
Yeah, I have one kind of counter argument against that because there is probably only one Flamberge in the deck. If you're running two, then
true.
that one is kind of negated.
But yeah, it's like
but
you usually get it back with Princess, right?
If you use Poplar here and you put Flamberge back in the Spell Trap Zone, you can't send it back. You can't send it with the Oak or an Ash because there are no more targets in the deck. So that is one option to trigger Flamberge in the graveyard, and it's just gone now.
Well, okay. I mean, we could be playing Birch, you know.
We don't.
We're not, but we could.
technically,
That
yeah.
only uses it in the opponent's turn.
I mean, also we can just
Oh, yeah,
recycle.
but you can still summon, like,
we
from
can,
the deck.
we
by
can also
sending
just
the Flamberge.
recycle something
Oh,
from the
yeah,
graveyard with original. Like, we can get back monsters into our deck, so there is targets once more. So maybe we just put back the Flamberge at that point then.
All right,
think
looks
that's
like
kind of
we are
balanced.
targeting
Can you do that if you have no
Phoenix.
target in the deck?
Oh, branded in
and
red.
Target the Aliber, recycling. I mean,
That's not too scary, is it?
surely we're not going to use it to fuse, right?
I mean, we kind of
you-
have to put up
yeah.
something. Yeah,
Yeah, he
we
has
do.
to.
We do bring out the Quiritas, and Quiritas is kind of cool because that is like the last resort card where our opponent has just to kind of force battle phase at some point, and then you have to use the Quiritas, and then they reduce all the attack points to 0, but there's of course Avatar already waiting, kinda.
Can I ask, are you pronouncing that correctly?
I have no idea. How did I pronounce it?
I don't know. I'm curious.
Which card again? I was reading
the
a card.
fusion.
The Quiritas.
Caritas?
Oh, no way.
Quaritas, isn't it?
Quiritis.
Quiritis?
Oh my, we're all over the place here.
Chat, can you tell us?
Yeah, really,
Quiritis.
we need your help.
Spell it
100%.
phonetically, please. Thank you. Yeah, this is,
Despian Quiritis.
oh, that's, yeah, of course. The Subversion just insta deals with it.
true. We just searched the answer to it.
Yeah, usually it's quite hard to deal with this because you can't go to the battle phase to run over it, and if you do try and destroy it, it triggers to float into another monster out of the deck. But Subversion just says, you are now a pendulum.
Get subverted.
Get subverted.
And Fire King Island next.
What scale do you think Quaratus would be? An 8 or a 1? Or something weird like a 0?
A 4.
A 4 scale, okay. Those are the worst,
The good
right?
ones, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I see. I'm listening to the conversation of two true pendulum experts there.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't seen any pendulum cards at all, right?
No,
There
Flush
is-
Fire is back to 3.
Yeah, but
It
there's
was
Melodious
Anurata.
doing decently well in the tournament.
Is that a pendulum deck?
Still, I mean, you do pendulum summon and you do have
I
a lot of
guess.
pendulum monsters in
Yeah.
there.
It wasn't good before the pendulum cards came out, so arguably it's a
Also
pendulum
fair.
deck.
Also fair.
And there was a Valmonica deck that was doing really
Yeah,
well
yeah,
by
that's
the
true.
former German national champion, Timo Hempel.
Oh.
And he did lose the last round though, so he's axe-free and probably out of the tournament with that.
Did you mean to say Champel to rhyme with Hempel? Okay.
That was my joke
Don't
for the
even
last
give him
2
credit.
days.
Yeah, now you told the people.
Is that like a German thing?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not. This is just a horrible thing.
Just a minor speaking mistake.
Okay, get Runic's effect. And the problem is we're probably going to destroy Kirin here, and then that card that we have set there, the last card...
We already triggered
to-
Karen this turn, didn't we? Oh, was
Did
that
we?
the last turn?
I think that was in the last
Yeah,
turn,
that was
right?
last turn.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
it was. Because we forced out the first Branded in red, the first face down with the Phoenix, so I wouldn't know how he would have done anything else besides that.
Yeah, no, the ability to just destroy and non-targeting with the Kirin, really, really powerful. It just forces out so much by itself, but I mean, you probably...
Oh, we cannot use Ash on that!
That is so
We're duplicating!
incredible.
Okay, so this is a really cool card. Fusion Duplication is a normal trap card that targets Fusion in the graveyard and it becomes that effect. Now, the reason you can't Ash Blossom this is because the effect of Fusion Duplication is to copy a card. It's not to fuse from the deck. It's copying a card that fuses from the deck, so you can't Ash it. So you basically just get to resolve Branded Fusion in your opponent's... is it maybe this is the battle phase, perhaps?
No, it's pretty surely to the effect of Garunix.
Just in response to Garunix,
Yeah. By the way, this is why I really didn't like using the infinite impermanence that was set instead of the effect Valors in hand when we have already activated a monster effect that turn, because our Vata was used at the start, and then we activated the impermanence, which is arguably much more flexible card than effect Valor is.
No, that's a very good point, yeah, because if you use the Valor, you have the imperm for your turn, so... I guess didn't really consider the one of Fusion Duplication. It's fairly standard, I want to say, these days. Probably now after the Branded Fusion going to 1, I'd say, right?
It's a good thrust target as well.
Yeah,
if
that's
you
the thing.
Just get hand trapped on your own turn.
Yeah. Where does this get us, though?
Sending my
Do
courier.
we have enough to withstand it? Because the Avatar still is sitting there, not having used its effect so far.
Rinbrum.
Rindbrum, okay.
Yeah, that's...
So...
I think that plays into Arvada quite well, right?
Yeah.
As the protection effects.
The best, probably, from all the options we had. I mean, also, it is a card, if they do get to out it in the graveyard, it would be able to use its effect again to bring back Fallen of Albas. So maybe, like, the different layers of it are kind of neat here, I think.
Yeah, so you can use the effect to negate and then return a monster. Negate a extra deck monster, basically. Most likely going to be negated by the Arvata, but then you can use the Grave effect of Rinbum to then bring back the Albaz, and then use the Albaz potentially to go into Mirror Jade using a extra deck monster.
Yeah, exactly. This could work out nicely, for sure. So there is now going to be the destruction of the Rindbrum, immediately going to the graveyard. So yeah, we don't even have to deal with the on-field effect because Kirin has not even activated or resolved, and therefore goodbye to Rindbrum, and now a graveyard effect can just be negated by the Avatar.
Yeah.
What are we doing now? And also, why haven't we tried to chain the Promethean Princess to this? Because now we don't... Oh, we have 2.
Was he play 2? Nice.
We just play 2. That's completely insane, and I love this so much. Because this is absolutely necessary in the deck. Because you were saying that the original Sinful Spoils put back resources, but it doesn't. You don't have targets in the deck anymore.
I mean, depends on whether you have the Oak already searched in your hand, right, for follow-up.
But apparently do it in your standard combo.
As you can see here, that the Rinbrum is being activated in the battle phase. Arvata negates and destroys the Ash in
And we
hand.
got it! 1-0 for Snake Eye Fire Kings and Dario. They're still up there. They're still winning, and they are up here in this nail-biter feature match on the bubble.
I gotta say that he didn't draw any field breakers, right?
Yeah, that
Going
was
second.
basically nothing but the
Pure
deck.
engine.
The
Just
deck
the thrust, right?
Thrust, yeah.
Yeah.
Thrust is also kind of engine in that deck, let's be completely honest.
it's
But the
a
deck just
mixture.
plays so well into fields because all of these cards are kind of resilient, have 5 secret effects at least that kind of keep you in the game. Every time something is negated or destroyed, something else just pops up out of the graveyard. I don't know how many games I've lost to an Aluba just appearing on my field, or on their field, negating my access code token that I was going to try to use for a game. But yeah, the deck is just incredibly strong into fields as well as it is putting up a field. And I'm just quite curious to see what Sophiane has in store for us.
Yeah, I am as well, but also I'm a bit concerned with Dario being so well prepared for that matchup. Already in his main deck, there is a total of 5 Bestials, and now tuning in from the side deck, there's going to be more help even. One card that I would like to address, and you can give me some insight, how well is Perulia situationed against the branded deck? Because we have seen some very good matchups for it, for example, the Ritual Beast deck, where we are like, okay, this card is insane versus that deck, but how good is it really versus branded, to be honest?
I mean, you kind of like want to resolve your normal summon these days because of the branded limitation, the fusion limitation. There's also Cartesia that can summon itself from the hand, so it's not like incredible. I think the one important thing you need to do versus this deck, and it is in the main deck, so dodging a Forbidden Limitless hit was the Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, so a very, very powerful win condition from Branded still available and still able to pull off that combo, so I think Dario might be aware of that and probably wants to sort of funnel all of his side deck cards into denying this specific combo, right?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Definitely. I want to say, just going back from the side decks a little bit, Fire King Snake Eye, or specifically Snake Eye, hasn't been too represented. It was the 4th most played deck, and this is what I consider kind of a rogue deck.
Okay, go on.
Let cook.
I'm kind of rooting for Snake Eye in this tournament.
All right, finally they got you.
The anti-meta hero of Snake Eye.
Dude,
yes.
the deck is so cool.
The rogue players.
It's a true rogue player, a true rogue enjoyer we have here in our casting team.
The second a good deck is becoming a little bit less represented, I'm on its side.
What about Voice's Voice, though? I thought that is your main rogue deck. No, but there is a Voice's Voice player still X2 in the tournament. We might see it in Top Cut, actually.
Voice's Voice was yesterday. Today is all about the Snake Eyes, guys. Get out your ashes and normal summon them.
That's also maybe the slogan for Dario. He wants to resolve Snake Eye Ash in this game. The players are ready. Game number 2 on our hands. Back into the action we go.
All right, well, Sophiane is down a game here. Put up a decent amount of effort, to be honest, for that full Snake Eye Fire King combo. Realistically, like one piece of non-engine would really get you out of that sticky situation. So Branded still pretty okay into basically any field here, but we'll see if we can pull off that all-important Gimmick Puppet combo.
Oh, immediately, though, the Infinite Impermanence.
He doesn't have an answer to the Branded Fusion. Okay, it's Patchwork, but this is still playing the game.
For now, it is.
It is doing things. So yeah, you can see the Frightfur engine used to be like an absolute standard and staple in Branded a couple of years ago, and then as it got more tools, it just became a little bit more redundant. But you can see Sophiane has decided to bring it back, and I think especially after the Forbidden Limited list, I think it has definitely found itself as a standard piece of Branded henceforth.
Another important question. I'm asking the questions here to the real Branded experts, of course. When your opponent has already used Aluber and used Impermanent, and they activate Frightful Patchwork, do you use Ash Blossom on it?
Absolutely not.
No? But it's 60 cards. How do they have one Branded Fusion after?
Nope.
Okay,
They have it. They
just have it. All right. I think I'm doing it, honestly.
Okay.
Like, it's just 6.
I figured.
With 60 cards, you at some point want to do it, I think.
That's why you're sitting here with us.
Yeah. You are sitting here with me too, though. On the other end, right?
I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me.
That is fair. Okay, so we resolved the polymerization now. What are we going to use for it? Surely.
What do you make with like
the?
Okay.
Yeah.
Quiritis.
Quiritis, yeah. Just make another one of those, and then the Edge Imp. Which one is that again?
That's Masquerade.
Oh wow,
everyone. That is Masquerade that we just summoned.
Masquerade.
Yeah, so summoning Masquerade here, and the Edge Imp will search out another copy of Patchwork, and that will just act as a nice little resource loop for the deck. And of course, Masquerade really strong, especially going into time, but not quite there yet. However, it is a 700 life point cost for every single card effect. So unless you want to go straight into Subversion to get rid of it, the combo is pretty long, and you're going to suffer a lot of life point damage just from doing your natural combo, right?
But I think you can just go into Subversion.
Well, the thing is, you might need your Sinful Spoils, right? So,
but I don't know whether you noticed, but of course we can also resolve the Branded Lost here, and we just grabbed the Cartesia for free too. And there's the second polymerization coming down. Are we going to use that Cartesia here from the hand? Interestingly enough, we sided in the Masquerade. We're not even playing it in our 15-card extra deck, but this card came in just specifically here for game 2. All right, Granguignol. Oh, we have the perfect combination. The 60-card combination. There is already the Albion in the graveyard, and we can now, with Granguignol, maybe send the other piece, the Retribution or the Branded Fusion to the graveyard, and then we have the double again.
There's the
Saronir, yep, that is just the step in between, pretty much.
Yeah, no, it's really cool how all of these different sort of themes, like Bestials, like actually have like a bridge into your Branded engine. There is the Retribution. Now you can use the Albion.
Dario is already saying it. Here, you can use the Albion now, right?
Yep.
That's totally how it is. Oh. But like, when we have a Bestial, funnily enough, like using it here does not even seem that bad, right? Oh wait, no. I was for a second thinking we could banish Branded Fusion. Yeah, no. That doesn't work though. Oh, okay, we do use the Bestial.
Hitting the Albion.
Albion out.
True, the Branded Fusion isn't in there yet.
For 700 points of damage.
Is it on the field or is it all card effects? It must be all card effects.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. But I was just wondering, it's 600 life points. I was already wondering when you said, but it's 600 is still going to do
Isn't 700
a decent job.
Yeah, I think that's what you're thinking
of,
right?
It activates the on-field effect of Granguignol now, though.
Banishing itself to summon out Quem.
And Quem can now, if we want, just send another copy, right? I think we just we didn't care about that at all. Look at that. we just sent the Branded Fusion like that.
The Baldric just kind of skipped a step for us.
Yeah. We're completely okay with that.
Branded Fusion.
Dario finds that
Oh
hilarious.
my. Sophiane loves this. He knows, of course, every combo that he could imagine with Branded, being a master himself of the deck for so long now. And that was just an easy trick, and he doesn't get fooled by that.
Honestly, we would have played it the same, right, Nadia?
Yeah, I think I definitely would have went for combo 3.5, chapter 7. Like
The
that's
spreadsheet.
yeah, for sure.
Figured.
But yeah, no, this is really, really strong here. Having the Lost up as well with the Branded Fusion means that you can actually prevent any card effects from being activated on the summon of your fusion monsters, and it prevents negation of activations, but not effects, which is why Ash Blossom still is like one of the very few cards that interact with Branded Lost. But yeah, just having this up on your opponent's turn is really good. Preventing anything from being activated on the fusion summon. You can like priority use Mirror Jades, you can get a search for Mercurier.
Yeah.
Really, really strong. And this is, yeah, well played by Sophiane. Doing all of this through 2 hand traps.
For sure, and we even activated the effect of Quem here. We can just bring back a monster from the graveyard. Don't even know what we're going to do with that necessarily. Okay, I mean, Khadija is good to have on your opponent's turn too. I don't even know whether we summon with this on our turn, but it is there. It will be ready for the turn that Dario is going to have eventually too.
Making a Lebellion, and this is going to give us a Mirror Jade, discarding that Patchwork. And that's
last
why
card
that,
in hand, by the
yeah,
way.
that's why that resource loop is really nice with the Edgems. You know, they just give you value that way, and then you can get more monsters onto the field here. So
just checking though, if he would have ashed, I mean there was no Ash Blossom, but theoretically if there was an Ash on the Patchwork, I think that would have ended this turn, right?
He has 2
Possibly?
polymerization.
well, he had the second poly, remember?
Yeah.
but then he wouldn't have gotten to the second fusion.
Potentially, yeah.
There is a chance. Maybe he could have just done it a different way, of course, but...
Honestly, they always find a way to win the
yeah,
fusion.
yeah, kind of. It always feels like that, right? They like you kind of stop them, you try to stop them, and they just keep on going.
And if he had Ash, it would have still been fine to just Ash the Branded Fusion in the end.
Fair. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, true.
We're tripping the Albion here for the Lebellion, the main deck Lebellion, and the Albion can trigger in the end phase. Like to refer to the end phase for Branded players as main phase 3 because they just have so many combos and triggers to resolve, setting things, searching things, setting up a red, banishment potentially. Lots of different ways to keep your engine rolling here. And we are going to use the Mirror Jade in the end phase as well. Going to set the Titaniclad. Titaniclad then triggers in the end phase to summon out.
Yeah, what even? We already have Quem, we already have Khadija. What are we getting here?
Ecclesia.
Are we just searching? We want the card in hand, I think.
Yeah, for the Branded red.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, this is so
Perfect.
sick. Honestly,
Beautiful.
Just watching like Branded be so expertly piloted like this by Sophiane, I mean, it is very satisfying. It's a very difficult deck. It's a very technical deck. You know, outside of just activate Branded Fusion, do a standard combo. When you have to like really sort of push through different forms of disruptions, you have to freestyle a lot, and it is just so well played here.
Same, I love it.
See what Dario can do here. That's a good start. We've got Wanted, going to search out Diabell Star.
There's some more help wanted, though, I believe, because that alone will not do it.
But just
Oh, look, we don't search the Witch. We search the Snake idea about instead here.
Maybe we already have the Witch in hand. I can't imagine a different reason to go for that in this situation.
Yeah, I think that's a card you usually want in the deck, but maybe we've labbed out some new combos that involve Diabell in the hand, the Snake Eye Diabell.
I mean, it probably, you want to get into the graveyard, so probably we have a way to get into the graveyard, which could be the Witch then, of course, so it kind of ends up being the same. But yeah, there's the Witch, discarding the Snake idea, so that makes sense.
Just using the Wanted is just good anyway, because it will just give you a draw here. I wonder how we're going to make the Mirror Jade come back online.
I can also, by the way, imagine that you're only playing one Witch in that deck because you don't necessarily want to start with it, because if you have to use it to summon out the Snake Eye Ash, you can't get it to your Onyx engine anymore, so maybe you're playing triple Wanted and one Witch.
And I mean, we probably can just use the Mirror Jade as a fusion material, for example, with the Khadija, and then we bring it back with the Quem, and then we have it back online. So I think that's just pretty easy, pretty straightforward, and I think Sophiane is immediately going to not fuse with the Mirror Jade, but still going to use the effect of Khadija already.
Yeah, sticking the Albaz in the graveyard, which can be retrieved with the Branded Red, which we're going to do immediately in response to our Albion summon. Remember, because of the Branded loss, we cannot activate any card effects right now. So it is just free reign for Sophiane to fuse and activate as he sees fit. Here's a Lebellion coming down here, triggering the effect of the Branded loss, yeah. And then on the new chain, we can use the search to discard for the Lebellion, and then that's going to give us another fusion play. And I wonder what we're going to make here.
We still haven't... Okay, but
we still haven't resolved the
Chimera,
Albion.
I think,
the Albion is going to summon out the Grand
Guignol.
Guignol.
Oh, I think we might
Does
just...
this puppet lock here?
I think so. That's what I was about to say, because Granganil can now send the gimmick puppet.
Nightmare.
Oh,
The crowd loves it. We have a round of applause for all of our favorite cards, of course, Gimmick Puppet Nightmare.
Yeah, recent support in Infinite Forbidden, being used as a small engine
What is the
in this
Quem doing
deck.
in the extra deck now?
Quem in the extra deck?
Yeah, he put the Quem back in the extra deck.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
I'm sure we can fix that up here. But yeah, look at this.
Yeah.
Puppet lock without any responses coming down from the opponent
There it
here
is.
because of the branded lost. Yeah, absolutely incredible. Oh, that just picks up his cards.
Boom.
There it is.
1-1. Score equals. Sophiane back on the board. And we have a third game on our hands now. Ooh.
So branded fusion to 1. That was really impactful, I think.
You could tell,
know?
right? You could tell from that.
Honestly, I felt like they never draw it anyways. Every time you use interruptions on something, they just go into some cards. All of a sudden, there is Retribution and Brand Fusion in the graveyard, and that's that.
No, that was honestly beautiful sequencing from Sophiane to be able to have 2 disruptions land on you, set up what is, again, it always seems like such an unassuming field with decks like this, and then you just power through with the Lost activation, getting you a Search for the discard, the Lebellion combined with the Cartesia, the Brandon Red, setting up the Granganol, sending the Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, and then resolving it on your turn without them being able to respond.
Did you ever have the feeling, did you ever have the desire to also become a branded player? Because I had that, but then I just realized, okay, this is going to be like such a long journey. I don't know whether I'm ready for it yet, so I just went with Plunic Runner instead. Runic Plunder, that's what. But did you have that desire maybe at some point?
Honestly, yeah, like
Right?
it's one of the most satisfying things in Yu-Gi-Oh
Absolutely.
to pilot such a a complex deck to such a high degree, but just not smart enough.
You need a degree for it, right?
Yeah.
And Sophiane definitely has.
I just figured
asked.
every time I wanted to start, I figured maybe it's going to rotate out of the meta in the next format, and then it never does.
Yep, it's always still there. Branded still at the top level of competition. But now, of course, different situation. Dario has the advantage of going first again, and he has more cards to bring in from his side deck, mainly a couple of really powerful trap cards that I see here on the line, and those might be hindering the field breaking ability of Branded, because Branded pretty much always had the approach of playing those breaking cards, playing with Triple Tactics Frost and so on and so forth. And when they get met with those trap cards, that can be tough.
Honestly, Basti, there is also Cosmic Cyclone in there. And yes, I know I talk a lot about this card, but if your opponent goes for a route where they send the Branded Fusion to the graveyard and set it back with Retribution, you can just banish it, take it out of the game entirely.
Retribution doesn't set.
Yeah. Tragedy does,
All
though.
right, yeah.
If that's the line that works. I think, though, activating it on a Lost is also not that bad. I think that also is not...
It's a good card.
It's okay. You can clearly see that this deck was not built to beat Branded.
Yeah.
There's like a few tools. There's the one-of anti-spell, which is really strong. That also has really good crossover into your opponent's side deck, because they might have things like Droplet and Dart Ruler. Typical field-breaking abilities that you would bring in with Branded, but being able to prevent that is extremely powerful.
Honestly, his main deck, though, it seems pretty good. Like, it seems like it's almost built to beat Branded. Like, he has so many Bystials, he has Ash, he has Imperm, he has Veiler. Like, that's perfect against Branded.
You don't need to overside. Sometimes a lot of people get very in their heads about side decking. You don't need to bring in like 9 cards every single matchup. Sometimes you do just have a well-built main deck. A couple of cards here and there just to give you a little bit of an assistance is more than enough, isn't it?
Sometimes, but not all the time. Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, also,
Wise
sometimes
words.
just a big combo is enough.
Yeah, and that's
sure.
exactly what Dario's deck can do, as we saw in Game 1.
Yeah, 2 monsters on the end field, by the way. Big
Just
combo.
literally just 2 monsters.
To be honest, the Ash Blossom really, really helped, and I think this is why you should play Salaman Great, because actually you can add the Ash Blossom
Smoothest
from the
transition
deck
ever.
to the hand during your main combo. If you have the 2-card combo,
Let me tell you about a
Ash.
level 3 Dark Fiend deck. Once upon a time... Anyway.
Yep, figured.
How's Beatrice, by the way?
Oh, she's on holiday. She's out for milk, actually. She's at the store. She'll be back soon.
Okay, yeah. Your 2 pet decks. I mean, I got to mention Runic Plunder as well. Clearly the best of the 3.
Why don't you tell everyone what you've been playing in the DC Cup?
Oh, that's
not Runic Plunder.
Let's save that for another day.
Looks like our players are just about ready to start this final round of Swiss. Remember, this is win or lose. No draw will be enough to get these players through. They have to get that victory here, ending on X2, potentially locking in that top 32 spot. Let's head on over to the table and see how this match will play out.
Also, when we were talking about side decking, I think you need a whole different degree to side deck well with the branded strategy, because there you have so many important one-offs. Which cards are you even siding out of the deck? You can't take the 3-offs because you clearly need those, but you also can't really take the 1-offs. And this is Snake
Built differently.
Normal summon
Limited doesn't
again.
matter.
Built differently. Unbelievable. Doesn't even draw the Poplar. Yeah, no, you're right. Side decking is sometimes a little bit of an issue when you have to like have this balance between the ratios of your engine versus non-engine. Now, the one thing I did want to ask is, do you side out Gimmick Puppet Nightmare going second, or do you think it's still worth trying to crack a field and then set up the lock, or do you think that's too much?
I think originally people did side that card out, but that over time people found out that it is actually reliably possible to also just do it going second, and then it seals the deal after you broke the field. Therefore, I think we might still see it in here, yeah.
Could be interesting to ask Sophiane about that if he wins this game in the analysis. But yeah, for sure, that's a good point. Sometimes it is possible to just break a field, and especially with a field like Snake Eye Fire King, which doesn't put up too much, but you know, it's still a relevant amount of disruption that might not necessarily interact well with the Gimmick Puppet Nightmare.
Yeah, but one thing that is definitely worth considering, and that's probably also why Dario is picking up the speed here significantly, 10 minutes on the clock. A branded deck does have a lot of pushes to play on their turn, so you really want to make sure to give yourself as much time as possible here by performing your combos so quickly. And he's really doing a good job with that. Like, that is happening in lightning speed here right now.
Yeah, normally in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like going first, generally over the years and various metagames has been the optimal way to play. But there are a couple of advantages to going second. Usually when it involves time, because you get that battle phase.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much damage you do. You don't need to end the game. As long as you can like perform your deck's combos and actually try and break apart a field, even if you just do a single point of damage, just beating over something like an Arvata, forcing it out, you could potentially still win in time. So things balance out a lot, especially post-siding, once you bring in some tools to assist you in this matchup.
Definitely, and I mean, we mentioned it beforehand, a draw is no good for any of the two players, so that really would be the worst outcome for the both of them, because they would both be out by drawing here. So they definitely are both definitely inclined to play this one out quickly here.
When I just took a look at the hand of Dario, and
What did you see?
Not only one Ash Blossom and Joyous Ring, I saw two.
Okay. Sophiane's turn. And I mean, we really, like, that was not even 2 minutes, I think, that Dario took there to perform that combo.
Yeah.
Still the same end field than last time. Avata plus Umblo Whale. And what is Sophiane going to do here? How is his hand looking? It's always like, basically, every time you see so many different cards in that branded deck, right? 60 cards, you just get a fresh hand. Everyone is different. Everything is different.
Leading with the patchwork this time here, going to do somewhat of a similar play of last turn, where we have polymerization as a way to enable some pushes to try and set up a branded fusion search, and as well as generating some advantage in the process for potential discards.
Honestly, polymerization is a really, really huge part going second, because if you just need to push for some damage, summoning out a Guardian Chimera is always really, really good, especially when you have polymerization in the graveyard, because then Guardian Chimera cannot even be targeted by card effects, and that makes it significantly harder to stop it from attacking over your Avata.
Yeah, 3,300 untargetable monster can be quite difficult to deal with, so getting the effect to destroy cards on the field, forcing things out, doing a little bit of damage, and sitting on it could be quite strong here. Here comes the Alibur. Now, do we immediately Veiler this, or should we wait? Because we know that we have the Ash Blossom for the branded fusion.
I feel like, though, branded and red is quite a bit of an issue, right? You really want to prevent them from getting to branded and red, and therefore just going after this Aluber is certainly understandable, I think.
So beginning with the Arvata here, this is going to turn on things like Thrust and Talents, which we've seen Sophiane play, but it will set up Masquerena and get some more resources onto the field through this Umblo Whale.
You know what also is pretty cool about Dario's field, just ending on these two monsters? It usually plays around Sphere mode. Now, though, we would be playing into that Sphere mode also, but yeah, we also just normal summon, right? But there actually is Sphere mode in his side deck.
Yeah, Sphere mode is a card that's been really popular this past week, and I've seen it in a lot of side decks just because Yubel puts up such a crazy turn 1 field. Removing the Varadras, the Phantom, and the Desiree, usually really popular, really powerful, so that's why a lot of people are playing Sphere mode now.
For sure.
Again, weird in this matchup because you kind of have to commit to the field in order to force out them to bring out more than 2 monsters.
We let them cut. Does that mean we are going to activate a card that draws here? Another Allure of Darkness, pretty much a copy pasta. Oh no, it's Triple Tactic Talents.
We're looking at the hand.
No, I think we're drawing. We need shuffled the deck.
Imagine looking at the hand and then seeing 2 Ash Blossom and Joy Spell.
That would be sick.
That must be heartbreaking.
But no, we shuffled our deck. Surely we draw here.
Yeah,
It is going to draw. Okay.
Yeah, so many cards in hand. Look, I think is it 8? I think it's 7 at least.
Oh, there's the Allure of Darkness. We keep on drawing.
All right.
Eventually, there is going to be Frost or Branded Fusion.
Can we hit Tragedy or can we hit a Mercurior off of this? Get some pluses even further.
Also, keep in mind there is no monster on the field anymore. So Guardian Chimera right now is not really an option.
Oh, the Tragedy.
That's big.
Yep.
Big.
I mean, he is playing multiple copies, as we have seen in the first game.
Yeah. It's still really cool to see. Like, we're just going so far in advantage here. But the thing I'm worried about is, how much advantage can you possibly have versus an Ash Blossom, right? Like, you can only do so much. We'll see if Sophiane can try and somehow find a way to navigate this. I'd really love to know how many cards he has in hand right now. Are we up to, like, 9 or something?
Oh, Albion, that could help, certainly. There is Branded opening in the graveyard, making everything a bit safer, honestly.
Yeah, fusions are now going to be immune to destruction. There's Branded in High Spirits.
Playing around the Ash Blossom, of course, with that card.
Oh, this is really cool because you send the opening to the grave for cost, and then you chain the High Spirits. Then High Spirits, I guess you're going to be discarding the Albion?
No, you
look.
Yeah, probably, yeah. I think so. Yeah, that's just another one of those niche little cool plays that Brandon can do, right?
Oh no, it's combo 14.5. Did you?
Sorry, yeah, I missed that page. I was not paying attention.
Yeah,
was absent during that lesson. Okay, we are going for Aspie Little Knight now. That's interesting.
Try and banish on the next chain, I suppose,
or just take something from the graveyard.
Yeah, maybe trying to hit the Albion out of the grave. Okay, gonna reveal the Edgem chain. Yeah.
And the query. Okay, I'm not going to try.
Just
the Despian monster from the
show us, Sophiane, how this works, because I don't even want to begin to know how this combo unfolds.
Cartesia is being added here.
The Albion goes to the bottom of the deck.
More draws for this deck. It doesn't stop. It doesn't end.
Yeah, no. Here's a draw here.
Also, now there is SP Little Knight in attack position, so if you kind of get a monster onto the field, how are you going to be stopped?
Yeah.
You can't normal summon anymore, so you kind of have to activate effects at some point.
Oh, we use the SP Little Knight, of course, on the Quirites, actually.
From the graveyard here. Removing a fusion from the grave is pretty good because you can't use things like Lebellion. Well, actually, you can.
No, on the Alubur.
Oh, going for the Alubur, okay. Actually, SP on a fusion wouldn't do too much. It would stop Albion, I suppose, but not Lebellion. And of course, the Edgem chain triggers on the new chain here to give us...
Oh, now the polymerization. That's our way to get a monster onto the field. And the SP Little Knight actually dangerous, right?
Masquerade potentially could just do some damage for free.
Oh, true. That could be the case. But that looks like Granguignol. Or is it Masquerade? It is Masquerade! Oh my!
Wow.
That's perfect. If he wants to activate a card, in effect now, he has to pay.
Yeah, no, a lot of life points going to be potentially cut down here with only 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock.
Okay.
Do you activate your Promethean Princess here?
I mean, we're just banishing the Masquerade right now, so that...
Well, there is a Branded opening in the graveyard, so I'm worried about Princess not getting much value here.
Chaining the Droplet too, though!
Sending the
He was never worried. He was never worried.
So we're keeping the Masquerade on the field. We're paying 600 for every single card effect and some battle damage into SP. I mean, we don't even need our battle phase. We just have to be able to try and crack through some of this field and set up a combo and potentially just close this one out before even the turn ends here. There's the Retribution being sent here. That can be used to retrieve a Branded Fusion if we can maybe get this into the grave. Saranir has dumped this. And from here... what do we have left in the tank? Remember that there is still an...
Triple Tactic Frost is being activated.
Do we let it resolve? He does indeed.
We do.
Waiting for the Ash on the Branded Fusion, most likely.
So I think it is the smarter play. However, letting your opponent search through through their deck costs some seconds.
Yep, that's what I was also
does get the Branded Fusion.
Worried about.
I'm really curious to know if there's other cards you can search that don't lose to Ash Blossom specifically.
There it is, though.
600 life points.
True, burn damage card.
Yeah, yeah.
Mini Okazi.
I mean, maybe if there was another way to search Branded Fusion or get Branded Fusion to the grave, we could potentially use the thrust to set duplication, but maybe we don't keep that in going second. We are going to add back the high spirits. Deployment!
Oh my. It just doesn't stop. What are we going to summon out here? Cartesia or Fallen of Albus, perhaps? Fallen of Albus now kind of looking a little bit
Wow,
the time.
there it is.
Fallen of Albus is going to be Chainlink 1, Promethean Princess would be Chainlink 2, and this one can't be protected by the branded opening, so we're going for Princess on Ponix. Ponix would be added back in the standby phase. If we get to that, 1.5 minutes left on the clock, the Fallen of Albus not really doing anything anymore.
Really
discarded.
Yeah, no, the Princess popping the Fallen of Albaz here is rough. I wonder if that was maybe not the... Okay,
Cartesia.
Special Cartesia.
I mean, we got that Fallen of Albaz into the graveyard like that. That was pretty good for that Cartesian hand.
Effect Veiler in the...
No, we didn't activate it yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
He was faking it, but there it is. Okay,
Getting a little bit ahead of himself here.
All of the damage. Oh, and we got some time extension. 4 minutes left on the clock. Dario might be back in this. With 4 minutes, we can do it, I think.
I can't imagine why we would have got a time extension.
That is very relevant.
Yeah, it is very relevant, but okay. A 3-minute time extension has been applied here.
The clock is ticking again.
The clock is ticking again, yeah. So, I mean, Sophiane's going to have to just take out the field. And I don't know, there's pretty much nothing else left in the tank.
I mean, he has
Cartesia for the opponent's
Cartesia,
turn, and
quick
Masquerade,
effect,
Masquerade can keep picking away at the life points for next turn.
Oh, and now we have the Emblem Whale effect as well, popping the Cartesia here, so it doesn't do anything on the next turn. Of course, you were right. Branded opening in the graveyard could protect the Masquerade as well immediately. Now Dario is going to draw for turn. 3 minutes left on the clock. There is nothing but a Masquerade left. But he took so much damage already. Oh, are we just going to summon back Flamberge, put it in the spell and trap zone and attack?
Yep.
Is that even game? That is
is
on the
game,
field.
right?
That is it. Dario takes it.
Normal summon.
A little bit ahead
we just
of
scale and
myself.
attack. This is it, right?
Okay, we want to bring out another monster here with the Oak. That is a
Snake
monster
Eye
big
Dive.
enough to go
There
for
it is.
it, and
Can we bring out Albaz from the grave?
we can activate.
Going to happen. We have
Nope, there it
Picking
is.
up the cards.
Dario wins this so close to timeout. Sophiane going through this tournament. He had 8 cards in hand at some point, played this really, really well. But Dario was just kind of unfazed the entire time, right?
Beautifully
It was
played.
just
Well, I don't know about unfazed. He definitely looked like in a bit of a panic almost near the end there. Yeah, time extension definitely provided enough time to get back to your turn, resolve the Oak, scale the Masquerade, and despite all of the burn damage, you know, whittling it down all the way down to like 2,000 something, all you need is one battle phase when you have these big monsters and
Snake
Fire
Eyes.
Kings.
That is true. I also just
The
got
Rogue deck.
The Rogue deck.
Yeah.
the Rogue deck is back on the line. Yeah, it was a slow play warning for Sophiane that in the end led to the 3 minutes time extension, and therefore that allowed them to have the chance to win it. And now, of course, still the praying, right? Because yes, they're X2. Yes, they have reached a record that is eligible for top cut, but it's not guaranteed. There might be some people missing out with X2, so hopefully he makes it, because that was a really good display of skill, but it's not guaranteed just yet.
Yeah, just under 2,048 players, I believe, is the threshold to hit a top 64 finish. So it's really tight, it's really exclusive, and you're only going to see the best of the best in Top Cut going forward.
Yeah. That's how it's always been. We have so many big names again. We have always been checking out the top tables, as we always do at these tournaments. There are so many great duelists sitting there playing different decks. We have more than, I think, in Top Cut, I'm going to make a prediction here.
Go ahead.
So if it was top 64, I think we would have 9 different decks. But with top 32, I'm going to go with 6.5.
I'll go over.
Okay.
I'll go over. Easy. 6.5. What a line. Of course it's going to be over. I will bank on my Pearly decks. I will bank on my Plant decks. They're all going to be there.
For sure, there's going to be quite a diverse spread of decks just because of the way that the top tables were breaking down. We were having a look around, and there is a lot of different things sneaking in. I think there's definitely some Chimera.
Yes.
I don't know if there's a branded, but for sure there's Yubel, Snake Eye, 1 or 2 Whitewoods Runic.
He realizes he was getting ahead of himself. But also, of course, in terms of names, you were already bringing that up. There's a couple of really familiar names still sitting there at the top tables. For example, German national champion and winner of YCS Dortmund last year. Julius Schwarzkopf still out there, playing a very, very cool deck that I don't want to give away just yet, but he's playing a cool one.
And
then
he's
of
playing
course
against a cool one as well in this round, because he is playing against a Blackwing duelist who is still in there, X2.
It'd be cool to see if we can maybe get that on feature for Top Cut at some point. That'd be really amazing.
Very, very
but
fun.
yeah, stay tuned. We are here just waiting for a interview to take place. If we can get a confirmation from production, it looks like the players have somewhat vanished here.
No, he's still there. But definitely we can also, like Joshua Schmidt, of course, also out there, I think on an X2 record, and therefore also had to win this round. I mean, the round is unfolding here in front of us in the hall. Don't know yet whether he did it or not. Maybe you guys in chat already know. Let us know. But it's definitely going to be very interesting to see who he makes it in the end.
To go away from the Germans, I was going to mention Tom Kleinegräber as well, who has been a staple in Top Cuts, but also Italian national champion Lorenzo Muselle is still out there dueling, fighting his way into Top Cut. Possibly, I don't know the exact standing. I think he was X1 before this round, so that would almost, it wouldn't guarantee anything. Almost guarantee is not a guarantee. But he's always been on top of his game in the last few years, actually. But so we have all kinds of duelists from all kinds of nations who are just playing so well.
Yeah, so we've got a decent amount of... did we say we were going to have an interview or an analysis?
We're going to have an analysis.
We're going to have the analysis
after this round, so we're going to
not going to have the interview
after.
We're just going to set that up in a moment. But
yeah, exactly.
Do stay tuned to the social media of the Twitter, of the YouTube channel, which you can check the VOD and the recap of all of the action today. And we should also have a deck breakdown available for you at some point as well. That's going to give you all of the different decks that have topped, and I think this is one of the last major events of the format, actually. So it'll be interesting to see what decks have been represented and which players have managed to find their way into Top Cut despite such a tight and exclusive Top Cut for us. I think we're just about ready here for our analysis, so we're going to pass you on over to Marcello Barbary for this last round of Swiss breakdown of our match here from Branded versus Snake Eye Fire King. Take it away, Marcello.
Thank you, Nadir, and well, that was definitely an exciting match for the last round of Swiss. Unfortunately, we will not be having Dario for an interview because he doesn't feel like speaking English at the moment, but he's focused on Top Cut, so I will be doing the analysis on my own. But, well, I think we had a clash between two amazing players. Sophiane, of course, with more experience in terms of Top Cut finishes, and he showcased just what the branded deck can do when you pilot it to the top level. But, I mean, in either case, they really tried their best. And in the end, we can only hope that Dario makes it to the Top Cut, because as Leo mentioned, it might not be a guaranteed, because for this event, going 9-2 is not guaranteed to make it to the top 32. But I would say we can bring the first clip of the match, and this was one of the interesting ones, because this decision from Dario was where to activate this Arvata. He had the option between, once the Allure of Darkness on the Tragedy was activated, to either negate right away the Tragedy or to wait for the Aluber. He was holding both Impermanence and Veiler, and in the end decided to immediately negate, to just set up, which in the end might have been risky for the talent, but we've mentioned multiple times that you can never have a single decision. You can't beat all of your opponent's cards, so you just gotta pick a decision, and that's what he was comfortable with. But in the second clip that we are gonna bring up, this is where you get more of a tech card. We get to the Popular, and this is a card that very few duelists are using, which is the sub version. And well, what a card. In this matchup specifically, it won him game one. It was able to get rid of the Queritis without even having to commit anything and just push for game. And I think that is a card that we might see become a staple, especially for this event. Look into the top 30 issue, we'll see how many players are using the card, and I think it does make sense, especially even in game 3, could have been really good against the Masquerade, and there are some monsters where you just don't need to think about it, just search it, it's a one-off, and it gets rid of a lot of problems, and sometimes you can use it on your own turn as well to just, you know, make a better combo. I think we saw, though, and we gotta give credit to Sophiane, and that's why in the third clip coming up, which we can now show, is this decision with the Ball Drake. Sophiane didn't have access to branded fusion, therefore Dario had to choose and try to stop him with the Ball Drake, banishing the Albion. But look at this, Sophiane was able to still just chain right away the Grand Guignol and still find a way to fight back, bringing the Quem and eventually still resolving the entire branded fusion combo, which was just a show of an amazing player that is Sophiane, which also was in the past able to qualify to the world playoffs at the European Championship. So it just comes to show he might as well be the best branded player in the world at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised to say that. But finally, I want to bring one more clip for you guys, which is the ending of the match. I think here everyone watching thought Sophiane got it. He resolved the polymerization and brought Masquerade. What a threat. You are closing to almost 2 minutes remaining. You just don't have anything to do against it. You're gonna pay 600 life points for any card you activate. What a scary feeling. But Dario still managed to come out on top. So, wow, honestly, so much emotion in this match and a lot of amazing plays. But congratulations to both. Unfortunately, Sophiane is kicked out of the competition. And now all that remains to be seen is who will make it, who are the top 32 duelists that will fight for a chance to become